Welcome, everyone. Today I'll be talking to Dejan Pralica. Dejan is the co-founder of Soul, exclusive membership community that helps its members to find other true sneakerheads, collectors, and enthusiasts, providing them with the right tools and resources to purchase the products they want for retail. Dejan, welcome to the Membership Maker podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Soul Savvy is a bootstrapped membership community. We bootstrapped our business as well, and we know that it requires a lot of hard work, trial and error, all that stuff. What's your advice for members out there trying to create a profitable membership without a lot of resources?
Start slow and small and build up, right? Start with one feature, one thing that you can do well, attract an audience, and then, build up from there, scale up from there, reinvest, the revenue you're making to make a better product, and just don't feel like it's a race. You don't have to be Clubhouse. You don't have to go from to $1 billion valuation in a year's time, right? You can go slow and steady, especially as a bootstrapped company. Just take the path that's gonna really reward you for the hard work, right? And that just is iterating and being patient, because if you don't have a bunch of money at your disposal, you have to be thoughtful about what you do.
Yeah. So in your case, and I think that's good general advice. In your case, though, what did you do in terms of your start small initial thing?
Started with an Instagram account, just trying to build an audience first. And then once we felt like we had enough traction there, we pivoted to a paid subscription, which was literally a little WordPress website with a subscription plugin connected to PayPal. And we just focused on content. And then again, we built up from there: technology, community, more content, podcast. We just added features and different, increased our value proposition with time as we learned from that audience.
So you started with an Instagram account where you were, I assume, talking about sneakers and just posting interesting content that other sneakerheads would like, right? And then now we're going to have a member only or a paywalled website with premium content. So again, at that point, there was no revenue coming in yet until you launched the subscription side of it. So what kind of content were you creating, and how were you creating it? I would assume relatively cheaply. And what were you kind of charging when you were first starting there?
Yeah, so we always had the intent of launching a subscription service. So even on the onset of it all, the idea was, okay, at some point when we launch the service properly, we will be charging for it, because we feel to do quality content, there has to be a fee associated with that, because I feel the old content model is broken through page views and all that good stuff. So really, it was just, the Instagram account was just starting off with posting interesting and original photography of sneakers, which was my collection, just so people could see there was a differentiation in what was being posted through their feeds, for example. And then from a content perspective, it was really thinking about niche things that people wouldn't find elsewhere, right? So instead of writing for the masses, I was writing for 20 people who would see and go, oh shit, I can't believe someone wrote this. And I'm very much enjoying it, right? And then because that builds a sense of loyalty and interest that someone else will appreciate. So if you start stacking 20, 40, 50 here, that's essentially where we got to the point when we launched in September, where we actually had 400 subscribers the first day, paying $30 a month, went all in and supported us for it, because we were building that loyal audience, one article or one post at a time, to show them that we can bring value outside of the norm, right? We weren't trying to just contribute more content and just overall storytelling within the space. If it was the same as everyone else's, that's not going to stand out, right? So we really tried to find our niche and stick to that.
And what did you charge for that when you initially launched the subscription?
$30 a month.
$30 a month. And how did you come to that number?
$1 a day. We feel like for the amount of value that we bring to people's lives, sneakers is very unique. There's 5-6 releases a week. It's very busy. That's 30-40 sneakers a month that will drop, and people will buy 4 or 5 if they can, right? So as a working professional, someone who's busy, to come home and have all the content you need packaged for you so you can acquire that product and save you that time, again, for $1 a day, not to make the coffee analogy, but a couple cups of coffee a month will save you hours and hours of time. That's excluding the fact that we can also save people money. So we just felt it was a really good value proposition.
Yeah, and I'm not a sneakerhead, just to be clear, but
Yeah.
I'm aware and I appreciate, for sure.
Yeah.
And I also am aware that many of them are expensive, like for sure
Yep.
over $100. So
None under. I have to laugh at you
yeah,
and just say none under 100, 150. I don't know anyone who's buying sneakers under 150 bucks.
right. That's the table stakes is 150. So
Yeah.
for a product like that, where it's like, yeah, that's not cheap. That's many cups of coffee. Charging $30 a month, I also think makes sense because the audience of people you're talking to, these are people that have disposable income, right? By definition, if you are a sneakerhead, you have disposable income. Otherwise, you can't be a sneakerhead, or you have some other way of making money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's also smart. Like some people might say, ooh, $30, that's a little pricey. Maybe that's too much. Maybe we should start simple, like $10 a month.
Yeah.
Did you ever even debate that in your head, or were you always kind of like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
let's start with a decent price right off the bat?
Our initial go-to-market plan was $10, and then after about 2 hours of thinking it through, we're like, oh my God, the amount of work we have to do, then coupled with the amount of customers we'd actually need to justify that work, was going to put us at a disadvantage. Whereas coming out the gate and saying, hey, we're a premium product, it's a premium service, we understand the space, we think the value is fair, pay it, because ultimately, it's, 1,000 customers is $30,000 in MRR versus if you were doing that at $10 a customer, it's just you're fighting a battle to catch up. Now, every space is different, and I had the questions asked, well, why would I pay 3 Netflix worth of subscription for this? I'm like, well, if you're passionate about this, it absolutely makes sense to you, but at the same time, how many times a month do you watch Netflix? Or how many hours in a given month do you watch Netflix, right? It's an easy price and thing to forget about using maybe a couple times a month for the average person. Whereas, what we were building was very focused on community and replacing people's needs for Instagram and Twitter and social media in general, so that this was a platform you were tapping into every single day. So you have to be honest and realistic, but not afraid to charge a little bit more because you really believe in the product and what you're doing, and people will resonate with that.
Do you consider charging more and increasing the price at some point?
We have, but we're waiting for kind of the right time as a company where we add a substantial feature set to what we're doing, whether that's marketplace, or just any new tools. We're still bootstrapped. We're not bootstrapped anymore, but we're coming out of that bootstrap mentality and that phase where we're not as polished as we'd like to be. So, we could say, hey, maybe we do bring $50 of value per month, but we're not there yet as a company, so we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. And I also think we're in a sweet spot, right? So, not looking to pricing is definitely a difficult thing that you don't want to mess with if you're in a good place.
Thanks for taking the time to talk with us, Dejan. We really appreciate it. Would you like to share any resources or recommendations for folks trying to learn more about SoulSavvy?
Yeah, please check us out on soulsavvy.com with 1V, savvy.com. It's spelt wrong on purpose because when we did this, you couldn't get the 2 V's in the domain name, and why not, So check us out, soulsavvy.com. The same thing on social Instagram. And if you're a sneakerhead, casual or experienced, definitely give us a look.